Hey guys, welcome into College SportsCast. This is going to be our second attempt at a video cast for our podcast here. We are going live on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. We are live streaming. And again, tonight I have John Hammonds, Mason Cross, and John Roberts with me tonight. And we're going to go through our hot topics, pick six, and no fly zone segment show. That's what this one is. And we're going to get started with some hot topics. Hammonds, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. So our first hot topic we're going to talk about is we're going to kind of put these two together. So Lane Kiffin surprised everybody, I think, and signed an extension with Ole Miss this week already. And then Auburn surprised everybody where everybody thought Kiffin probably was going to be going to Auburn. Auburn surprised everybody and hired Hugh Freeze. So our first hot topic is we're going to kind of discuss the rumblings that happened last week between Ole Miss and Auburn. And Hammonds, I'll open it up to you, and we'll start with that.
I mean, I'm just going to go with the Hugh Freeze hiring starting out.
Okay.
You know, there's been a lot of backlash because of the hiring of Hugh Freeze. Here's my thing with it. And I'm not going to try to get all religious or anything like that, but at the end of the day, people make mistakes. People screw up. People do things they shouldn't do in the past. And I feel like, you know, sometimes we need to give people grace. And at the end of the day, that's what Auburn is giving Hugh Freeze. They're giving him an opportunity to make amends. You know, he's even relinquished his social media. That was part of the deal. So he's giving that part up. So maybe this will work. You know, there's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts around Auburn Twitter, especially between Auburn fans. There's a lot of back and forth with each other. So some people like to hire, some people don't, but I like it. I think he's a good coach. I mean, he did beat Alabama. He did beat Saban.
He got the number one recruiting class at Ole Miss.
He did. And as far as Lane Kiffin goes, I'll be honest with you. That last week was an absolute train wreck.
Hey, the Lane train keeps coming.
John Roberts is wanting to say something, but that was an absolute train wreck last week. You know,
the Lane train keeps coming, John.
From him, off the rails. Well,
it was from 1 minute he's gone to Ole Miss, or he's gone to Auburn. The next minute he's staying. The next minute this and that was being said. I mean, we didn't know what was going on. And even Lane Kiffin. And you knew when Lane Kiffin, when that news come out, you knew there was going to be trolling on his Twitter because that's just what he is. That's what he does. And if you can handle that as a fan, then all power to you. But if you can't handle what Lane Kiffin brings, then you need to just pack it up. So, but I feel like they done good. I feel like they done good with the extension. Lane's a good coach. He's just – the thing about Lane Kiffin a lot of people don't seem to understand is that Lane Kiffin moves around a lot. He goes from one place to the next. You know, he left Tennessee. I think, didn't he go to USC?
Yes.
Yes.
He went from Tennessee to USC.
Yeah, and it was just back and forth. I mean, you don't know.
He basically left Tennessee in the middle of the night.
Yeah, in the middle of the night. Yeah, it was basically.
He really did.
Yeah. So, but if you're going to leave town, that's the best time to do it, to be honest.
Yep, that's the Indianapolis Colts.
That's true, though. It really is true. Mason, what do you got to say on this Lane train topic and Hugh Freeze?
Hugh Freeze. That's the real question.
All right, go ahead. What do you got to say about Hugh Freeze?
I'm not going to say nothing bad. But maybe after the first few games, I might chime in a little bit more. Yeah. I thought Roberts was onto something when Ole Miss lost there. I was like, oh, here comes the chaos, but it didn't ensue.
All right, John Roberts. I know you got some things to say about this. We got the Auburn fan with us, so he's in Birmingham. So,
all right. So, the Hugh Freeze and Lane Kiffin and all that stuff that went down. It was some of the best Twitter that I've seen Twitter in a long time, and that was mainly just watching the fans of both Auburn and Ole Miss. One melts down, and the other one is right there jumping on.
and then it flopped
and then
yesterday.
it would flip, and then it would flip, and the other one would melt down. And
right.
it would go on because I mean, it started out with Ole Miss is a better job, right? Ole Miss is a better job. Auburn can't possibly be. Why would you leave Ole Miss for Auburn? Ole Miss is a better job. And
but is it a better job though?
Well, I'm getting ready to kind of throw it in there. The Auburn fans would turn around and just absolutely hammer the fact that Auburn's won a national championship in the last 15 years. Auburn has won an SEC title in the last 10 years. Auburn has been to the SEC title game 4 times really, if you go back to 2010. Ole Miss since 2000, Ole Miss has missed the title game by a half game. Basically, they lost the tiebreaker twice in the last 20 years, or since 2000. Since 1992 when the expansion happened, and they created the title game. I mean, again, Ole Miss has only missed out on going twice by a half game. One of them was with a Manning back in 2003. They missed it with a Manning, and the other one was with Hugh Freeze as their coach.
Right.
And so again, they couldn't even make it to the SEC championship. They never won their division. And so Auburn fans just made sure that Ole Miss understood that. And then it got to be where, oh my God, Lane's coming. He's gonna make the announcement as soon as the game is over. Auburn's gonna make the announcement.
I mean, I had people telling me that it was supposed to be official. I mean, behind the scenes.
Yeah. So then all the Ole Miss fans are now completely just trashing Lane for bailing on Ole Miss and doing all this stuff, and Auburn fans are,
it was pretty entertaining,
whatever. And then, nothing happens. Which again, Auburn fans were, you weren't really sure exactly how Auburn was going to handle this. Were they going to announce before the Iron Bowl, or are they going to announce after? And then you start hearing. You already heard rumors of an extension that was offered, but you hadn't heard anything about it being signed. Well, as we keep going into the weekend, and then the Auburn game happens, you hear that Lane has signed an extension, and now it's a train wreck the other way. Auburn's left
in the dust. Else.
Right. Yeah. And then, well, who's their second person? Hugh Freeze. Well, then everybody comes out and starts, trashing Hugh Freeze, and then it looks like, well, the board's backed off of Hugh Freeze. And then all of a sudden they're back on. They just went through and they did their, they vetted and made a few just kind of had a few stipulations in order to make sure that everything was going to be kosher at the end. But still, I mean, you still have a split in the Auburn in the Auburn family with the hiring of Hugh Freeze because of mainly the off the field stuff, and I'm not talking about the NCAA violation cheating that is now legal now. Talking about all the stuff that with either harassing somebody that was an accuser of sexual misconduct over in Liberty. We're talking just all of his phone, the hiring escorts on a state given phone, a university given phone, and stuff like that. So a lot of the Auburn fans are pretty upset with that, and then of course you got a lot of people that are just really ecstatic about the whole thing, and then there's some that are just saying that this is just a sleazier Gus Malzahn, where the ceiling is 8-4, and every now and then he may have a good season, and so next year, next year, I mean, I honestly think the team goes 8-4 next year, which will be a huge step in the direction that Auburn wants to see it. But I don't know how much further he goes. I think that the headaches are different than, say, Malzahn's headaches. Malzahn couldn't recruit an offensive line, couldn't develop a quarterback, was always stuck in his ways.
Now, Hugh Freeze can recruit.
Right. Hugh Freeze can recruit.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the flipping of that one LSU prospect, that linebacker from LSU, was a Hugh Freeze thing that happened before there was really an announcement of Hugh Freeze. They've announced that they've retained Cadillac and Zach Etheridge.
They have.
And
just to add to that, I seen a picture on Twitter today where Hugh Freeze was in the office and met Cadillac Williams, and they had a little caption and just talked about what a great meeting it was between Hugh Freeze and Cadillac Williams. And I think that's partly trying to settle the fan base.
Right.
Because the fan base is absolutely behind Cadillac Williams.
Well, right. And, it's trying to fan the flames a little bit.
A little bit. Well, it came from the Liberty Flames, so, yeah, I guess that would happen.
Yeah. That's true. But I also think it's trying to settle the fan base, rally the fan base a little bit as well.
He is. He's definitely trying to rally the fan base.
Because I'll be honest with you, it's
going to be a while.
Cadillac, there's nobody at that Auburn University that loves Auburn more than Cadillac Williams.
I mean, he's absolutely the glue, and it's a very smart move.
He's Auburn through and through. He played there. He was part of.
It's a very smart move by Hugh Freeze to keep Cadillac Williams on.
It is. It's a very smart move.
Correct.
It is.
I still consider.
All right, there's a couple of other hires. We're going to talk about a couple of other hires. So, Wisconsin hired Luke Fickell, Cincinnati coach. Hammonds, what'd you think about that hire?
I like it. I just don't think that he's going to be able to do what he wants to do like he did at Cincinnati.
I mean, he's been at Cincinnati.
I get it. It's in the Big Ten, but he had a pipeline right there in Ohio.
He did.
And he lost quite a bit of those players to – there's a few that went into the transfer portal. Now you got teams such as Louisville. You got Kentucky. You got other guys that are going to snatch some of them Ohio guys up now.
Well, they have been. Kentucky's been snatching Ohio guys ever since Stoops got there.
They've been doing that ever since Stoops got there. Vince Marrow is probably your Ohio dog catcher.
Absolutely.
He's the main cookie in that regard. So I think it's a good hire. Luke Fickell's a great coach. He's offensive minded. He knows how to manage a game. He knows how to put plays in. You just don't take a team to the playoffs for no reason.
Right.
And he did that last year. So
he did.
Wisconsin's just going to have to give him time.
Yeah. Mason, my question to you is Luke Fickell going to be able to handle and recruit and overcome things in the Big Ten at Wisconsin?
14 years at Ohio State before that. Then he went to Cincinnati, Wisconsin. And so, I mean, he's coached in the Big Ten before. Not head coach, but he was interim head coach in 2011. But he's coached.
I mean, Wisconsin's a program that
But I feel like
they kind of expect to win.
Quick question, though.
And that he can get a great running back to come to.
Quick statement here, though. At Wisconsin, though, he's not really going to have much pressure.
I don't know. They expect to win.
They do, but I'm not. I'm saying like a school, say like Penn State's what I'm saying. They're not going to have that prestige pressure that, if he wins only 6 games, he's going to be out the door. I don't think, he's going to be gone if they only win 6 is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. With Wisconsin, that's running back for some reason. I don't know who wakes up and goes, I'm going to go run the ball in 15-degree weather. But he'll have his pick at running backs. The quarterback situation, he's going to go on that. There's plenty of people in the transfer portal from the Big Ten. Quarterback just entered. I know McNamara's entered, so he has some options to try to keep. I think he'll do all right. As long as he can get it figured out after his first 2 years.
All right. Don Roberts, what do you think about the Fickle hire for Wisconsin?
So obviously this one kind of came out of nowhere for this one, just because. I mean, I guess you knew he was trying to kind of put feelers out, but you didn't really hear a whole lot. But I mean, that may have just been because the media was all focused on Ole Miss and Auburn and their coaching, kind of the back and forth right there. So the one with Fickle, going to Wisconsin, and one that I'm assuming we're going to talk about next, kind of happening right before Auburn announced even the Hugh Freeze, was again kind of made what was going on, down here in the state of Alabama just even more, just made it, even more of a frenzy. So, I mean, as far as the actual hire itself, I think that was a good hire on Wisconsin's part, but Cincinnati's about to be a P5 school starting next year.
They are. They're going to the Big 12.
And I mean, I don't know how long he would be at Wisconsin if he's still eyeing that Ohio State job, because I think the Ohio State job, is probably the ultimate for him, being that he played there and he coached there for so long as an assistant.
Right.
And he's from the state of Ohio. So as long as he can do well in Wisconsin, I think, he'll still remain relevant as a candidate. And with the mission, with the Big Ten West just being as bad as it is, he doesn't have to do a whole lot to win the West. Now, in order to be relevant, he's got to win the championship at least once every now and then. I mean, it wasn't that Paul Christ's problem. You're in the game, but you never can win it.
I mean, so, Chris won a lot of games,
but he never won. He never got a Big Ten championship. He can make it to that game because, I mean, it was like winning the SEC East for so long. You would have 3-loss Florida, show up in the SEC East, or something like.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys think he left because they're joining? Oh,
say what?
Do you guys think that he left because they're joining the Big 12? Cincinnati recruiting will probably be a little bit harder. They're going to play more stout talent. Did he leave to avoid the?
Well, I mean,
I doubt that's what he was. I doubt that's what he was doing. Was trying to avoid, that it may have just been that he would rather be in the Big Ten, as opposed to avoiding a Big 12. I mean, you're going into the Big 12, but the Big 12 is about to lose its two biggest names. So
The
Well,
Big
Wow.
besides
12,
TCU this year.
once
Well-
Texas and Oklahoma's gone, the Big 12, I mean, there's two or three teams, basically, I think, that, might have the upper hand on the top of the conference, but it's basically, I mean, going to be open as far as the top 4 or 5 teams in that conference.
right.
So the next hire that I wanted to mention while we're talking about coach hires is Nebraska hired Matt Rule. And Hammonds, what'd you think about that? Matt Rule's been at Carolina for a couple of years, 2 or 3, but his claim to fame is Baylor, basically. But he did coach at Temple and got them bowl eligible and play in as well. So
He did. I like this hire. It's going to take some time, especially at Nebraska, because Nebraska has been, I guess you could say, the laughing stock the last couple, 3-4 years. Even, you know, even
they have.
Pelini years, even Pelini years, Bo Pelini, even when he was there, I mean, they was good, but they wouldn't
Well,
Nebraska.
Scott Frost was terrible. So
He was bad. But here's my thing about Matt Rule. Everybody points out how bad he played, how bad he coached at Carolina. But I'm going to tell you something. Pros are a lot different than college. You look at Nick Saban. Nick Saban went to Miami and just couldn't do it. And he comes back to Alabama and he creates a dynasty. So, I mean,
yeah,
things are a lot different when you got different.
He didn't have autonomy in Miami. I mean, just think about it. He still wanted he wanted to get who was it? Drew Brees. He wanted
Yeah,
Drew Brees,
yeah.
and instead, the organization went and got Dante Culpepper, who was literally on his last leg.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
basically.
take this real quick. Matt Rule is the best hire of the coaching career.
He's a good hire, but he plays ugly football.
so
It's a boring style. I'll just put
Mason
it that way.
said he might have a call or something, so maybe that's what he's doing.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah.
I'm gonna step out and take it, but
Okay. All right.
But here's the thing about Matt Rule is he plays if you like ugly football, Big Ten hard.
Yeah, but that's Big Ten football, though.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, if that's what you like,
Yeah.
So
I think it's a good match for Big Ten football. I really do.
Well, it is, but you look at it from another perspective. Like with Kentucky, just losing their offensive coordinator today, getting fired. In the SEC and these other places, that ain't going to work.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't work as well.
Not especially against these elite defenses. You gotta score points.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did. He scored some points at Baylor. Now
he did, and he also played really good defense too. He had a good defensive team.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think Baylor, to me, was the same after Rule left, in my opinion. I mean, Aranda done good that first year, but he's kind of went.
Yeah.
He's kind of went backwards the second year.
Yeah. John Roberts, what'd you think about the Nebraska hire?
I thought it was great. I thought that was a great hire. And again, kind of one of those that was off the radar because of what was going on in my neck of the woods. So, but it happened.
Right.
I thought the guy was, he was great when he was at Baylor.
Yeah.
I felt like he, was able to take a team that wasn't really, it's kind of a stepping stone program, a program that would always get stepped on, right? By the Big 12 and made them relevant. And
absolutely.
So, and then, again, the NFL is a completely different animal. So him, having any sort of success or, whatever in the NFL is just, or the lack thereof necessarily isn't on him because, again, you can look at the Nick Sabans or the Steve Spurriers, and even, attempt number one by by Pete Carroll and all those guys, and that they went into the NFL, failed, but they were successful college.
Pete Carroll actually succeeded, though. I mean,
He in attempt number 1, he failed,
Yeah.
went back to
Yeah.
college, succeeded in college, then went
then
back
he went
up
back.
and
Then went pros and then succeeded.
right, and succeeded
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about some transfer portal news. Michigan quarterback McNamara put his name in. And Mason wanted me, he's not here, but Mason says there's a lot of buzz that's going on about McNamara possibly going to Iowa, and that Iowa was his second choice. It came down to Michigan and Iowa the first time, and that there's a lot of buzz happening where he's at. He's in Des Moines, Iowa.
I wouldn't be shocked if some SEC schools didn't get involved.
Oh, I think so. I think Kentucky could be involved, to be honest with you.
He's not a bad quarterback. He just didn't fit what Michigan wanted, especially
Well, I mean, he took Michigan to the playoffs last year.
Shoot, he beat Ohio State last year.
Yeah, I mean, he took Michigan to the playoffs last year.
What I'm saying with McCarthy, they just thought that they was going to go a different direction. Is what I was trying to say.
Yeah,
and that happens, especially at this level. I'm going to be honest with you. I said it the other day, and you put a GIF on there the other day. I put the transfer portal is like the Wild Wild West.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. It's like free agent. It's like free agency in the NFL.
It's a free agency that happens every year. It's not free agency in pros. They have to wait out their contract.
Ain't there some in this they have to wait it out at the end of the year? Ain't there a new rule that said they had to wait until the end of the year to?
Yeah, they have to wait to officially.
They transferred mid-season is what I was saying.
Yes, officially the transfer portal doesn't open until December the 5th. Officially.
And even you say Kentucky. Kentucky had 2. DeMarcus Harris,
yep,
and Chris Lewis,
yep,
the wide receiver. I thought Chris was going to be a good piece to that team, but when you got Dan Key, when you got Barry and Brown, when you got these other guys that are in the way, ahead of you, you look out for your best interest.
I'm going to give DeMarcus Harris a little buzz. I mean, he did complete 4 years at Kentucky.
He did.
And he has 1 year, COVID year, basically, of eligibility remaining. And, that's kind of like the old the graduation and transfer rule. I don't mind that rule at all. If you put in 4 years at a school and 3 or 4 years and you got 1 year left, I don't mind that rule at all. So
I don't either.
For DeMarcus Harris. Is there any other transfer big names that y'all want to mention, Roberts? What about you?
There was a couple guys from Ole Miss that transferred. I think there was maybe a safety or cornerback, maybe.
Yeah.
A quarterback. One of them was a quarterback.
Which one?
The backup, I believe. I can't remember his name. The one that backed up to Jack Start.
I gotcha.
The quarterback?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a few guys, but they really haven't. It's just now starting.
Right. It doesn't even open until December the 5th. So we still got like a week.
Much until about bowl season, in my opinion.
We still got about a week. So, and
then
see
guys.
The coaching. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you're good. Usually during bowl season, right before the bowl games, during the week they'll usually put that they're not playing in the game, and they're going on to the transfer portal.
Right.
And it's just like all of a sudden, and it's like all at once. It seems like a tornado hits. You know what I mean? And all of them are starting to declare and enter the transfer portal.
Right.
So
the coaching carousel season has kind of started.
Yeah,
UK has fired a couple of assistant coaches. Rich Cangarello, who came from San Francisco 49ers, was fired as the offensive coordinator. John Settle was fired as the running backs coach.
You know why he was. You know why he was fired, don't you?
Well, I mean, originally I was hoping it was because we were going to go after Cadillac Williams, but that didn't pan out.
A lot of it had to do with recruiting.
Oh yeah, it was. They said he hadn't recruited up to par.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
that was a lot of.
So is John Roberts? Is there any other coaching carousel names and people that you've heard that's been fired so far? I'm talking about assistants and stuff.
I haven't heard of anybody being fired yet, outside of what y'all have mentioned. But again, Auburn will be looking for a defensive coordinator and an offensive coordinator, and everybody else for staff. So
a name that come up today for Auburn was Dan Mullen.
Well, I've been hearing Dan Mullen at Kentucky for a
I've heard that one too, and I've also heard Brian Hartline. So
yeah, I've heard Brian Hartline at Kentucky too.
Here's the thing about Dan Mullen: if you get Dan Mullen, you're going to get a heck of a quarterbacks coach. Because look what he did with Dak Prescott, and look where Dak is now. Dak is probably one of the better quarterbacks in the league now. He does really well with quarterbacks. I think he got. I don't know if he just got stale at Florida, or if he just was getting tired. I think he was just getting worn out with it. I mean, and the time that happened, he had done lost the locker room. And
listen. I was a Dan Mullen fan, and I'm all on board for somebody giving Dan Mullen another chance, especially as an OC. I mean,
I was actually on mute when I found the top. My bad.
Yeah, the OC. Yeah, as an OC, man, he'd be a stellar hire.
He would. Yeah, he's good with quarterbacks. Like I said, he took Dak. He got Dak drafted, so. You got to be pretty good if you get Dak Prescott.
Yep. All right, guys. So we're going to move along to our Pick Six topic tonight. Again, we're going to be doing the college football playoff rankings. They come out tonight on Tuesday night. So I know Mason's got them. Hammonds, do you have the rankings in front of you?
I don't think I got them on me.
Mason, do you have the rankings in front of you?
I think it was Georgia, Michigan,
Michigan,
was it
TCU, USC, Ohio State.
Ohio State with 5.
Mm-hmm. Alabama at 6, Tennessee at 7.
I still think Tennessee and Alabama should be flipped, but
there is a way, and a lot of people are not talking about it. Alabama gets in there.
Alabama should be flipped, but can Tennessee compete without Hooker?
I doubt it. That's just my opinion. I mean, I just don't think Tennessee.
They can.
So this part of the show, I just want to mention we're going to encourage some comments. So if you're watching, you're on. Tell us who you think your top 4 should be.
7-8 is Alabama, Tennessee, and Penn State.
Yep, and then you got Clemson and Kansas State, Utah, Washington, Florida State, then LSU. And the way that you can get Alabama in, and I mean, I know that there's a lot of people that are clamoring, a lot of people in this state that are clamoring to get Alabama in. You really just need TCU and USC to lose their games.
I think all you need is USC to lose.
Well, if you have USC lose, then, the automatic thought is that Ohio State jumps in.
But they just got embarrassed at home. Alabama points.
They did. They did, but I mean, you would have to think, how does
Well, what they're going to do,
Alabama jump Ohio State without, playing a game? Either one
I mean,
of them
look at who
playing a game.
they lost both their games. I don't know how much. I think it was just
and
2
I'll be
points.
honest with you, I don't think Ohio State has really played nobody up until they played Michigan. I mean, they had that.
Yeah, they're two
They
big
had
games.
that one.
They're Penn State and Michigan, or
Yeah,
the
Penn
two
State
biggest
had that.
two biggest
Well, they
games
had
are
the
Penn
lead,
State and
but
Michigan. Yeah.
you know,
It is, but they're still a one-loss team, and if they would have won on Saturday, they would be number 2.
yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
If they
We
would.
could argue this. We could
I
argue
said
this
if.
all night.
I said if, Mason. Don't be.
So here's one that's going to be really funny. Is if TCU and USC both lose, right? And then you put Ohio State and Alabama into the game, into the playoff, right? That's
Yeah, but
2
but
SEC
why-
teams and 2 Big Ten teams playing each other.
But wouldn't you
I
put
think
Tennessee
TCU
in?
regardless.
That's a possibility that they could get in regardless of the outcome. But let's just say they get blown out
Well, I mean,
by Kansas State.
they're playing Kansas State both times. Kansas 15.
Yeah.
Okay, let
I
me
mean, I
give you
don't
this.
think
Let me give you this. Say TCU and USC loses, right? And then you get Alabama and you put Ohio State in there. Well, why don't you put Tennessee in there? Because they beat Alabama head to head.
Tennessee
Right,
does have a
but Tennessee's
I get
Tennessee's
that. But
losses
they beat
are a lot
Alabama
bigger.
head to head. Don't head to head matter?
They do, but their losses
extent.
also are worse, and they got blown out in their games versus Alabama, who lost on the
Viewpoint.
final play of the game twice.
on the road.
Would just say, yep, on the road. And I see that we got is it Eddie Davis saying that he doesn't believe that they put a 2-loss team in. It's the first time for everything.
I still think TCU they could lose this game and still make it in easy.
I mean, that is true. I mean, they could lose the game and they could get in. There's that possibility, and that the only one that's truly a revolving door could be USC.
I would say USC is going to be the easiest way for a different team to get in.
Correct. And they've already lost to the team they're playing already, but that was on the road and it was only by 1.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get Eddie's comment to come up on the screen. Yeah, I mean, I was one a few weeks ago that was saying, that I didn't think a 2-loss team should get in. But the way things have gone here pretty soon, I mean, if we get another team or two that's lost, it looks like we're going to have a 2-loss team. I'm still on board. There's just no way possible that a 3-loss team deserves to be in the top 4 of college football.
Wow. If you're going to do that, you need to have a 12-team playoff.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no way.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be guaranteed that you're going to see 3-loss teams in with a 12-team playoff, but with the 4
There it is.
would be
Finally.
very difficult. So
There's Eddie's comment on the screen for us.
Yep.
We appreciate your comment, Eddie. I'm kind of with you on this. I don't think that if we at all cost, in my opinion, that we shouldn't have a 2-loss team in. Now, if it comes down to a 2-loss team getting in at that 4 spot, I'm actually been claiming for Tennessee to get that spot and not Alabama. Tennessee beat Alabama head to head. And my opinion is that Tennessee should have that spot and not Alabama.
But you have to look at
they're going to look at the 2 losses.
Can Tennessee, like I said, can Tennessee compete without Hooker? I don't think they're a top 15. I mean,
Well,
you're gonna put
the
Tennessee over Bama and
quarterback got
get
thrown
in.
into an ugly situation too. Like, and he don't.
Ugly sit
To
out.
me, he doesn't make the throws that Hooker makes. I seen that Saturday when they was playing Vanderbilt.
Tennessee's calling card all year long has been offense, right? Offense. They're not as good as what they were. Alabama's still the same team.
You're right. They are. The other thing, and I'm gonna actually jump back in on this TCU thing. A kind of a thing against TCU. Just blatantly just making it whether they lose or win, and that is really the fact that they allowed that game against Baylor to go to the wire, that they went wired, that they won some games by a very narrow margin or just barely escaping against teams that they should not be, that they should have blown out, and doing things like that they just don't look like, I guess the championship, caliber. Just kind of throwing that out there that, it may not be a complete slam dunk that no matter what happens with TCU, they're in. Just because
They won, right?
Huh?
The games though, they may not have looked great, but they won.
Yeah, but you're looking at the caliber of team that they're winning against and doing what they did.
Yeah, I mean they had,
everybody else's competition was a lot. I mean, outside of what, say, Michigan, because Michigan's going to have the same resume as Ohio State, except they won their games. They won the head-to-head.
Ranked teams. TCU played ranked teams. Kansas was ranked when they played them. Oklahoma State was ranked when they played them. I mean,
I think
what they ended up
as long as they win. If they win,
TCU wins. They're pretty much in.
I'm not saying that Tennessee's not in if they win. I'm saying that they're not necessarily in if they don't win.
Now, if TCU loses to a 3-loss team in the Pac-12 or Big 12 championship, then we might be talking about a different story. So
that's what I'm referring to more.
I said might be, Mason. Don't be shaking your head at me.
I mean, no offense, but we could sit here and talk about this all night. I mean, it's
who that's the fun of it.
Yeah, but basically you're just getting the teams that you think's going to be in there, because I don't think a 3-loss team's going to be getting in that playoff.
But what if LSU blows out Georgia? Just absolutely destroys them.
Still not getting in. Georgia.
Okay. Hey, Roberts.
I'm just saying, what if it happens?
All right.
Then you Tennessee. Maybe a 2-loss.
All right. So on that note,
1-loss Ohio State.
On that note, I'm going to move to the no-fly zone part of this show. And our no-fly zone.
We're not flying on this. We're not flying.
The no-fly zone segment. Our first topic is going to be the refs. All right. There seems to be a whole lot of bad calls. Mason was talking about a field goal that looked like it was good.
SEC.
And so I want to kind of go with this. And our first topic is going to be, should the refs have to have a press conference at the end of ball games just like the coaches do?
Yes.
Are you fly with that? If they do?
I'm fine with it. This
All
was
right,
my
Hammond.
topic. I chose this topic.
It is your topic. You come up with this idea. I actually think it's a good idea. So go ahead, Hammonds.
Yeah, I think it should be. I mean, you're seeing absolute atrocious calls. There was 2 or 3 calls in an NFL game Sunday where the guy there was a false start, and it costed a team field position down late in the game. Like, and they were standing behind it. And then you had the couple face mask penalties. Then you had the call. What was the call in the? There was a college game that was bad Saturday. I'm trying to remember.
I mean, the fact is, there's bad
I lost
calls
train of
all
thought,
over the country.
but they're bad. Like the pass interference, you can't touch a man anymore in college. If they do, it's a penalty.
And I'm not even just talking about football, basketball maybe, and where the refs have
Basketball's
to
bad.
where the refs have to
Basketball.
stand up after a game and have a 5 or 10 minute press conference and stand and ask some questions on their calls. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm actually all for it.
I am too. Why did you make that call? What made you make that call in such a crucial time?
Yeah.
Or
what did you
for
see?
instance, or what did you see? And in the game too, a lot of people don't understand the game too's changed. It's a lot faster now. In real time, it's a lot quicker. The players are faster. Technology's gotten a little quicker. And another thing too on this whole ref thing, get rid of the checking the time. What is it? The scores table every time a thing happens. It's every single time with 2 minutes to go. Like
I kind of like the fact that they try to get the calls right, but I think it shouldn't be on every single out of bounds call or
every
whatever.
single call. Yes, but yes,
all right, Mason.
my answer is yes. This would fly.
All right, Mason, are you flying on the whole refs press conference?
To ask me that. I mean, I don't know. After that Oakland, 12 refs have been pretty bad over the past few years. I think that field goal looked pretty good to me.
I knew he was going to bring that up. I just knew it.
It looked good where I was sitting. It looked good. It looked good where all the fans that were sitting behind the goalposts were sitting. I don't know how it was no good. They need to have the like the GoPros on their hats. So when they look up looking at it. That's a good idea too.
Well, so should the refs have to stand up after a game and explain some of their calls?
Yes, sir.
All right. John Roberts, what do you say on this one? The coaches have to do it.
Yes. I think they should get up in front of the media and go through and answer questions about each of the calls. The only thing, I mean, but here's the deal: is that it's not going to change what the calls were. I mean, we'll just be even more mad because they'll sit there and tell us, "Well, this is what I saw," and I mean, they're telling you exactly what it is that they like. What they called is what they saw. So they're like, "Yeah, this is what I saw."
Would it be better to know why they called it though, right? Especially for like pass interference or something.
Yeah, I mean,
because
there's some plays
playing and they're officiating. They know what they're calling pass interference based off of versus the other refs.
I mean, in theory, I would love to have this and for everybody to be, held accountable for what they're doing. But in the same time, I know that you're going to get, essentially what is coach speak from the refs. You're not going to get anything that's definitive, and it's not going to change the outcome of the game. They're not going to go back and reverse a call because you sit there and go, oh, man, he's an idiot. He just saw something different.
What was it? Was it a week ago, Brad, that Kentucky had a play against Georgia and Stoops was absolutely losing his mind?
Oh yeah, he absolutely lost his mind on that, and he was right.
It was the pass interference.
I mean, he was right
in the game. Yeah, he knocked the receiver down, and they just stood there and looked. What gets me is they're standing right there in front of the play.
Yeah.
It don't make no sense. But
all right, so the last topic on the no-fly zone, and then we're going to move to a little bit of basketball stuff. But the last topic is Coach of the Year for college football.
I'll take this
I'm
first.
going to say that I'm calling for Sonny Dykes to win Coach of the Year for TCU. Somebody that's different, somebody that nobody that a lot of people wouldn't think about. They are 12-0. They're in the Big 12 championship, and they are in the third position in the playoff rankings. And if that's not Coach of the Year, I don't know what is. Hammonds, what do you
I
say?
got two. Can that work?
And this is another topic where I encourage y'all to chime in. Anybody that is watching with us, I encourage you to chime in.
I actually got two. Can that work?
Go ahead.
Okay, so the main one would be Coach Heupel. He'd win the Coach of the Year because look what he's done to Tennessee in just 1 year. He's turned them into old Tennessee that everybody didn't
They
like.
got really close to being the old Tennessee.
Yeah,
Without the South Carolina stomping, then I would say they were the old Tennessee.
and my runner up, I'm switching it up, is Shane Beamer from South Carolina.
I just can't go there. They didn't start the season off well enough.
They didn't, but they beat Tennessee and Clemson back-to-back weeks.
They did, but I don't think that's Coach of the Year.
That.
That's Coach of the 2 weeks, Coach of the month.
But
maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe the coach for November.
He beat Kentucky. Well, it was without Levis, but he still beat Kentucky. Beat Texas A&M, which I know Texas A&M ain't real good, but a lot of people had South Carolina losing 4 of those games.
Probably.
So.
All right, so Eddie Davis, who's been on with us, he makes a comment. He's on your side, Hammonds.
Thank you, Eddie.
He says, "How about Beamer ball?"
Thank you, Eddie. I'm on the Beamer train right now, man.
Yeah, he says, "How about Beamer ball?" I just thought I'd throw that in there and show you, Hammonds.
Coach of the month is right, he said. I wouldn't say he's Coach of the Year, but give him Coach of the month. Let's look at it like that. He beats Tennessee, not just beats Tennessee, weather Tennessee offensively. And then he comes into the Clemson game and he takes care of business there. And now they probably playing for a New Year's Day bowl. So,
All right. So I'm showing his next statement was Coach of the Month. So,
yeah.
All right, Mason, who you got for Coach of the Year? What about Sonny Dykes, man? What are you saying?
Yeah, he's done a great job. I know.
It can't be Kirby. It can't be Kirby Smart again, right?
Think about Lincoln Riley went into USC. 4 seasons are 5-7, 8-5, 5-1 in the Kobe year. Now they're back in the college football playoffs.
If they win,
are in the Pac. They are back to a winning mentality in 1 year. It hasn't looked pretty at times. I hate to say it, but from what was going to be 4 straight losing seasons back to blue blood mentality.
I'll be honest with you. Jim Harbaugh, a lot of people thought that this year that Michigan was not going to be what they thought they was going to be. And Ohio State would win. And I think, give some votes to Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that Lincoln Riley took that team, flipped it around, back number 4 right now, win football playoff contention 1 year.
Well, I'm just not.
He took the Heisman winner quarterback with him. I mean, 1 year. I mean, that's pretty. I don't see any.
This is true.
So, I guess I'm going to go LR.
I can't go. I'm not on board with that. But okay, Mason. John Roberts, what say you? Coach of the year, Sonny Dykes, right?
You're gonna laugh at mine.
Okay, give it to me.
Kirk Ferentz.
Jimbo Fisher.
Huh?
Jimbo Fisher.
Jimbo Fisher. Good grief.
Because I mean, it takes absolute talent to take a team that was preseason ranked in the top 10 and have them so bad that they are sitting at 5 and 7 and not
5 and 7. They're missing a bowl. So if anybody follows our TikTok, I made a funny little TikTok last night about this. So just so you know.
Labeled the Christmas Nightmare.
The Christmas Nightmare. Yep. It's funny as crap. You got to go check it out. It's got the Christmas Nightmare music background to it. It shows that Texas A&M's missing the bowl. Yeah, it's funny. You got to go check it out.
I mean, that's talent for you right there. I mean, they had the number 1 overall recruiting class like ever. And
this is true.
Then did nothing with it.
Well, they
I think that's talent.
Which brings us to our next topic.
What's that?
Which team was the most disappointing this year in college football?
I mean, okay, so I think it comes down to probably Miami or Texas A&M.
I'm gonna go one that a lot of people ain't even talking about. Arkansas.
Nah, see, I can't go there.
They had a lot of hype. They had a lot of people predicting them to go 9-2, 10-2. When they KJ Jefferson got hurt. They had a couple guys leave in the transfer portal. They had the offensive line was bad at times. KJ got hurt in the middle of the year and missed a couple of games, maybe 1 or 2. Didn't play real well.
But I mean, that's kind of the thing. KJ got hurt. You can't predict that, and that kind of was the glue that or really just the straw that stirred the drink right there.
The drink, yeah.
And
their defense. Let's not get started on Arkansas's defense. They got better at the end of the year, but in the middle of the year they just couldn't stop anybody.
And, oh my gosh,
they couldn't defend the pass, to save their life at the beginning.
All right, y'all, I got to show this. Eddie says Scangarello's the new OC for Texas A&M.
Is that real?
No, that's not real. He just got fired today.
Mm-hmm. And
I don't know. It's just funny.
Is he calling plays? It doesn't matter who the new offensive coordinator is.
If the guys don't appreciate it, I appreciate the funny comment.
The offensive coordinator.
I'll just say this about Scangarello. I was upset with his play calls. You've been
on his ass all year.
I have. I've been on his tail all year. But a lot of it wasn't all his fault either, though.
Don't even act like you haven't.
The offensive line was atrocious.
It was. It has been. The offensive line coach is the one that needed to be fired today first.
The offensive line, can only do so much in the plays that they call. I mean, you can't call a play and Levis on his back every 5 seconds. Like it's impossible. So,
right.
about Utah?
Do what?
So we're not going to talk about Utah preseason top 5 egg in the Pac-12.
Yeah, but we're in the Pac-12 championship, so
Yeah, they're still in
Well,
the championship
that
game.
gives them a pass.
It just means that they are just. I mean, they're average because the second team is always average in that school.
I mean, that gives them to me. That gives them a pass, really.
I mean, they're still what are they? They're number what? 12, 11, 10 right now?
What
Yeah,
about
I can't
NC
remember where they
State?
were.
Huh?
What about NC State? They're really
They've been
tight race.
disappointing. They've had a disappointing season. I don't think they're the most disappointing.
Well, no, A&M takes that trophy by a mile. Teams that
Yeah.
aren't as obvious.
Or
Right.
how about this? What about Alabama?
What about Oklahoma?
Well, I wouldn't say they've been
Oklahoma.
disappointing. They just
I mean, you're projected to be in the playoff every year, and you miss the playoff. Now they
Yeah,
haven't
but-
quite missed the playoff yet, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, they missed the playoff.
a lot of the problems Alabama's had has not been offensively.
No, it's been mental, which is weird
It's
for
been
Alabama.
mental and defensive lapses in the secondary.
And I mean, the mental stuff was like, I mean,
You watched the
they couldn't
Tennessee
handle. They
game.
couldn't handle being on the road, which was
No,
crazy.
they lost to LSU on the road, lost to Tennessee on the road. And in those games, you watch it late in the game, Brad, like Alabama,
Yeah.
they couldn't get guys in and off the field. They didn't know where everybody was. It was I wouldn't say discipline. Well,
It was.
I guess
It
you
was
could call
discipline.
it that.
It was discipline.
Well, it was definitely
false starts,
discipline
it was
because
false
they had a
starts,
lot of penalties.
offsides. It was
They was
false
an
starts,
Alabama-
offsides, and stuff like that.
There was an Alabama alum. I can't remember who it was. He tweeted during the game. He said, "This is the most undisciplined Saban team that I've ever seen since Saban's been here."
And
Yeah.
I can't
wouldn't-
remember the guy's name, but
I mean, I
right.
wouldn't disagree with that.
I wouldn't either.
Are y'all ready to turn to a little bit of basketball talk before we end
Yeah.
our show tonight?
I'm down. I'm
Well,
down.
Kentucky
for some
decided
basketball.
that they wanted to play.
Yeah, Kentucky's finally picking up some steam here.
Give me
I've
one
been watching it.
I'm not even going to get started on Calipari right now. So
All right, but wait a second. The first thing that I want to mention when it comes to we're going to switch and turn to basketball. But
Brad, give
did
me one.
anybody catch the Alabama and North Carolina game on Sunday night? Went into
Yes.
4 overtimes. 4. And it was absolute just amazing game to watch the end of that game. Of course,
the end of game situations though was ridiculous.
Yes,
Of
it
The way
course.
both teams handled things.
was.
Well, okay. And North Carolina got beat and lost 2 games in that tournament. So, they dropped quite a bit, I think to like 17 or 18 or something like that this week. So, but I just want to mention that it was a wild game to watch is all I'm saying.
It was. I agree.
Yeah.
My favorite game to watch this week was Creighton and Arkansas.
That was a really
That was
good
probably
game to watch.
That was probably one of my favorite games.
Yeah, it was.
Who does
Duke
Creighton play?
Duke got pounded by Purdue on Sunday by almost 20 points, 75-56. Duke does not look good. Of course, this is their first year without Coach K.
Duke, Kentucky,
Should be second
North
year,
Carolina, and maybe
No.
Kansas.
This is Shire's first year as head coach.
right? I thought Shire coached them last year.
No.
He was just assistant.
They announced it last year that he was going to be the coach when he retired.
Maybe he missed. Maybe Kay missed a few games, and that's what it was.
I can't remember.
I think K did. He missed a couple games, and
Shire was okay.
he was
Yeah.
in there for him. Yeah.
But those were a couple of games on Sunday that happened that I thought was kind of big games. Of course, tonight Kentucky's playing Bellarmine. It was a really
I'm not even
terrible
gonna
looking
get
game.
started. I ain't gonna get started on like
It was a
I could say
terrible looking
something.
game. Kentucky has kind of pulled away a little bit in the second half. Bellarmine does have a good coach, and
Here's
they
my thing.
play as a
Can I just
team.
rant?
So
Can I just rant a minute?
go ahead.
Here's my thing on Calipari. I thank him for the times that we had the big recruiting classes. We got another one coming in this year. But you've got to change the offensive philosophy. That ain't the worst part. The worst part is the lineups. He's
Explain.
got Collins and Toppin in at the same time when Bellarmine has 4 guards out there at the same time. When you could use 2 or 3 guards to shoot, he won't put 2 guards together to shoot.
Mason says his mic wasn't working, so
His in-game coaching is desirable.
I mean,
Just leave it at that.
there's a
There's a lot
couple
to
of
be
things.
desired, is what I'm saying.
He actually needs to run some kind of a set for an offense, first of all, and he never does. And then second of all, he lacks a lot of in-game coaching situation things that help teams out. He just lacks it.
Wisconsin 2015.
And I don't know if he will ever get better at that. I mean, he's 63 or 4 years old. He's not going to make too many changes. So, John, your
You are who you are.
rant. I mean, honestly, he's not going to make too many changes. If he was going to make a few changes, he would have made them at least, at a minimum, 3 or 4 years ago. And he's just not going to.
He's stubborn.
So I mean, that's just my opinion on it. And until he gets a talent on the team that he can just over talent everybody again, like he did in the 2012, 2015 teams.
It's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, he's trying again next year with a recruiting class that rivals the Michigan's Fab Five. So he's trying. Roberts, what do you say? You want to chime in on some of this basketball talk?
Yeah. So the Bama game was quite thrilling.
The jungle. He's
yes.
wanting to talk about the jungle.
They haven't done anything yet.
Yeah,
they haven't done anything yet. Let's hold off until they do something. Okay, they're gonna play a couple Pac-12 teams in the month of December, and I believe they've got maybe one other team that's worth it before starting SEC play at the end of the month. So again, there's gonna be some games that come down to the wire in which you think that they're going to win by a lot more than what they end up winning by, or that maybe they lose. Maybe they lose a game that you don't think they should lose. And so, I mean, that's really all I've got to say about them right now. They haven't really overly impressed, but they haven't really done anything, at the same time I mean, they haven't lost. So,
right.
So they just haven't done anything yet.
I want to mention real quick that Louisville is playing Maryland right now as well. They're down 69-39 with 8 minutes to go in the second half.
Will this coach survive this season?
I don't know, man.
69-39.
Nice.
It's 69-39 with 8 minutes to go second half. Man. I mean, it's atrocious, guys. Like, honestly.
It's bad. It's bad.
It's so bad
let me tell you,
that it's embarrassing.
Let me tell you this. You know what's going to be bad? Is they play, I think, FSU coming up. It's like on a weekend.
Well, Maryland's ranked 22nd in the country, so they're playing a ranked team
FSU,
tonight.
I think LSU. I think you got me confused.
Florida State.
Florida State plays Louisville, I think, maybe this Saturday or next Saturday.
Right.
One has not won a game, and the other one's only won one game, I believe. And one guy put on Twitter, he said, if you go to that game, you have a lot of nerve than I got.
I'm telling y'all, I have never seen a program as proud in basketball like Louisville is, that is playing and looks like Louisville does right this season so far. Okay?
Listen,
I've just never seen it.
as much as you want to sugarcoat it, you can't. Chris Mack destroyed that program.
Listen, I don't care. I mean, Payne's been there. He had a chance to get some transfers in there. He had a chance to get some late recruits, and he did. And he's got a few of his guys. I'm saying that he's got a full roster of his. He doesn't. He's only got 8 or he's got about 10 scholarship players, I think, something like that. But I mean, in all honesty, Calipari's only got 10 or 11 scholarship players because he does it on purpose.
Yeah, he only play to be frank. Calipari usually only plays 8 players.
He does, and he doesn't like to have more than 10 or 11 scholarship players on the team.
He even said that when they had the platoon back in 2015, he said, "I'll never do that again."
Yeah.
But
And
he
then
might have to next year, though.
There's another game later tonight, 8:30 at Central Time. Virginia and Michigan play each other tonight. Basketball. That should be a good game to watch. Virginia has started the season out really well, winning some big games in the tournaments. They're 5-0. They moved up to ranked number 3 this week in the poll, and Michigan's 5-1. So that should be a good game tonight to watch on ESPN. I want to mention that. I'm trying to look through and see if there's any more pretty good games this week. Florida State is 1-7 as well, by the way.
That's what I was saying. Yeah,
I know, man. It's just craziness. Ohio State and Duke play this week in the ACC Big Ten Championship.
Actually, at Duke, if I remember correctly.
Or Big Ten ACC Challenge. I said championship challenge.
It's at Duke, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Because last year was at Ohio State because Ohio State.
It's actually tomorrow. It comes on tomorrow at 6:15 is what it says on ESPN. So there's the ACC Big Ten Challenge is tomorrow. Part of the games are North Carolina and Indiana play tomorrow, which will be a big one. Michigan State and Notre Dame play tomorrow. And Purdue and Florida State played. Purdue's actually ranked 5th in the country now, and Florida State has fell on their face. So we'll see what happens with that game. But half of the ACC Big Ten Challenge is tomorrow. In basketball, so I want to mention those games. Mason says to mention Creighton and Texas play each other in the Big East Big 12 battle on Thursday.
That's Thursday, I believe. Yeah,
on Thursday they play each other. Creighton is ranked 7 and Texas is ranked 2. So that's a big game this week. So Mason wanted me to mention that one. The Big East Big 12 battle. Oklahoma State and UConn play each other.
Mm-hmm.
And Seton
quick reminder,
play each other.
Quick reminder, we got an interview next week. I got one today. So
yeah, we do. We got a big interview next week with the ex-coach of Eastern Kentucky. He's also been with Kevin Willard at Seton Hall. He's been with at Louisville with Rick Pitino. He's been with Richard Pitino at New Mexico. I think he's even been at Iona, maybe with Pitino.
I think he was at Iona. I think he was there with Willard.
With Willard?
Willard was there, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's coming up next week. That's going to be next Wednesday. Actually, we
Next
scheduled it.
Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah, we scheduled it out a little bit. But
Yeah. So you get
Roberts, do you have any more basketball talk you want to mention?
Not at the moment. Well, looks like Kentucky went ahead and finished off
Bellarmine.
Bellarmine 60-41. So
Yeah.
finally finished it off. It looked kind of tight early in the second half. So, but I don't have
Well, it was like
any
wasn't it
extra stuff.
21-21 at halftime or something?
I can't remember. I was kind of in it. I mean, more focused on what we were doing here than
Right.
realized that it was at halftime.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
but they went ahead and finished it off. They did win tonight, 60-41. Um, and I'm just Illinois and Syracuse is playing tonight. They're 38-30. Illinois is up. Houston is playing a game, and they're the number one team in the country right now, but they're playing nobody. They're playing Norfolk State or something, and they're at halftime. They're killing them. Um, Baylor and Marquette is playing tonight. I don't really know that much about Marquette, but Marquette is one of those teams that can kind of sneak up on you. They're usually a pretty scrappy team and have a couple of good players. So, but I don't really know that much about them yet. And then, like I said, the Virginia and Michigan game is tonight. And then one other game, a late game tonight. San Diego State plays UC Irvine. UC Irvine is the school that beat Oregon early in the season, about the first or second game of the season. UC Irvine beat Oregon, and they're playing San Diego State tonight, who's a ranked team. And just a game to watch. Keep your eye on some basketball games. So, this week, like I said, the Big E, the ACC and the Big Ten Challenge, Big East, and Big 12 battle is this week. So there should be some good games on over the next 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's almost Christmas time. It's almost Christmas.
Yep. Yeah, there should be some really good games on over the next couple of nights. So
Santa Claus visiting you, John Roberts.
Yes.
Right there. One game I'm going to mention on the women's side that's going on right now. South Carolina's playing UCLA, who's ranked 15th in the country. And there's only 3 minutes to go, and South Carolina's only up 4 points, 60-56 on the women's side. So just a game to watch that's going on right now as we speak. South Carolina, basically on the women's side, is most people think or believe is head and shoulders above the rest of the competition, but they're struggling a little bit tonight against UCLA late in that game. So I wanted to mention that game while we're on. I've got 2 minutes and 20 seconds left, according to my app here, and South Carolina's up 60-56. So Iowa State is winning big on the girls' side. They're ranked eighth in the country, but they're playing a small school, so it's a school they should win. But Iowa State's got a good girls' team, and so does Iowa. Both of them do, and the girls' basketball. So just try to give you a little bit of update on the girls' side of things. Ohio State and Louisville play in that ACC Big Ten Challenge. They're both ranked teams, 4th and 18th, and they play tomorrow. And then North Carolina and Indiana play on the girls' side. They're 5th and 6th in the country. Maryland and Notre Dame play 20th and 7th in the country. In that ACC Big Ten Challenge, it's on the girls' side as well. NC State and Iowa play each other on the girls' side in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. and they're both ranked 12th and 10th. That's on Thursday. Just to give you all a heads up on some of the big games on the girls' side as well. So I like to cover. I actually coached some girls basketball, and both of my sisters played. So I've been doing girls basketball stuff all my life. So been going to games, and I enjoy and have coached some girls. I've got some girls that I'm hoping they're sophomores and juniors in high school right now. I'm hoping that a couple of them will go on and get some scholarships. I'm keeping up with them. I coached them in middle school years from 6th to 8th grade, and there's about at least 3 or 4 of the girls that I coached that I think might have a shot at a scholarship, and there's 2 or 3 that might get a big scholarship, a big school, and I'm kind of keeping an eye on them. So I'm hoping that they continue with their career, and I like to keep up with the girls' game as well, the women's game as well. So I'll always try to throw in a little bit of women's basketball talk. I don't know as much about their game as I do the guys' game. I'm not going to act like that I do, because I don't. But I'll throw in a little bit of women's college basketball talk as well. We're going to do some college baseball talk in the spring. Mason and John Roberts are both shaking their head on that one. They're both excited about that. So we're going to be throwing in, starting in February, some college baseball talk as well. And we're going to cover that through the College World Series. So, and I'll probably lean on John Roberts and Mason to do a little bit of lead some of that as well. I'm just being honest with you. There's some sports that I know and sports that So I'm just being completely honest. But we enjoy this. This has been fun. We'll be doing these shows. I've got them scheduled. I've got the next one scheduled on Thursday night. It's going to be at 8:30. We've got Jason Harrison that's going to be coming on with us. He's coaching basketball in Little Rock, Arkansas, and he coaches on Tuesday nights. And that's the reason why he's not with us on Tuesday nights. But he's actually coaching with Scotty Thurman, just to kind of throw a name out there for everybody. He's coaching with Scotty Thurman. Scotty Thurman is a national champion from Arkansas in 1994. So
I'm also trying to work on a couple of guys from the pros. Just a couple of guys. There's a major league guy that I know, especially during baseball season. I would like to get him on.
okay,
Played for the Rangers. Good athlete, greater person too.
cool. Mason, just so you know, I tried to contact Trent Condon today on Twitter. You can tell him that I followed him, and then I sent him a message on Twitter for me. That way, I know you had said that he's supposed to be wanting to come on with us. So that'd be something cool, and we'll follow up with that. So Trent Condon is a sports radio guy out of Des Moines, Iowa, and he's on the show.
He's on Locked On. He's on Locked On Iowa.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I keep up with my football, man.
Okay. Well, so he's wanting to come on the show.
I'm not trying to outdo you, man. Don't worry.
I have to keep up with a whole lot trying to do all this, so I need some help sometimes.
I'm going to put a chalkboard right here, and it's just going to be plus one.
Yes, I'm going to need it. I promise.
And then you have to deal with us.
Yeah.
Especially
so
John
anyway,
Roberts. Did he say it was a stop collar? What'd you say?
I've recovered. I have some great news today. We posted our Landon Roberts episode, and I want everybody to go listen to our Landon Roberts episode. It's a great episode. It happened last week. We had a little download recording issue where some of the audio was missing, and I had to contact Podbean technical support And last night they sent me is about 5 days later, but they sent me a recording of it, and we recovered it through Podbean tech support. So,
What'd you say? What'd you say to John Roberts? Did you say did he have a shot collar? I must have got confused on what y'all was talking about.
yeah.
Because you was pointing at something in the back there. I didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah, because you were talking about being a +1. I said I would put a board behind me, right behind me, and I would just go +1 every time that you're one up somebody. I would just go.
Well, it sounded like you said shot collar. I don't know why I thought that, but I must be hearing things tonight. So,
all right, guys. So we're going to kind of wrap this up. I want to run through what's on the screen there for everybody. You can follow us at Linktree College
I think John
SportsCast.
Roberts froze up. John Roberts did.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can follow us at College Sportscast on Linktree.
Yep.
And we're doing this live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and it's also on my Twitter at Brad CS Cast. So,
Yeah, I think he.
yeah.
I think it shut off. Yeah.
So we'll wrap this up for you guys. We appreciate every single one of you that's been on. Eddie, we appreciate all the comments. Eddie Davis
We
tonight.
even appreciate Mason, even though he's an Oklahoma fan.
We'll see if we can get Roberts back on here.
There's
There
Roberts.
he is. There he is. You froze up on us, man.
All of y'all froze on me, so I was by myself.
The myth, the legend.
All of y'all froze on me.
The man, the myth, the legend, John
Yeah.
Roberts.
So, again, follow us on Linktree, College Sportscast. We have everything. I've been really busy trying to get whole field, basically, of avenues for us. We even have a giveaway going. We even have a giveaway going on that where you can win a hat.
Yeah, you've been jumping down my throat last couple of days too. So,
well, I've been really busy trying to get all this together. So
I know I'm just giving you we gotta give you a hard time, Brad.
We love talking sports, and we're just a bunch of guys. Now we do, like I said, we do have Jason Harrison with us. It's going to be with us on Thursday night and probably Sunday as well.
We got Dan McHale next week. He's a former Eastern Kentucky head coach.
Right.
I think he's Wednesday afternoon. I think me and you just going to do that one, ain't we?
Right. And Jason Harrison played. I keep bringing him up, but he played basketball for Ole Miss. He's an Ole Miss SEC legend.
Well, we like people to know, because if they don't know who they are, they're not going to figure it out. You know.
Yeah. So you can look him up. He graduated in 2002 and took the Ole Miss Rebels to the Sweet 16. He was a point guard on that team and took them to the Sweet 16. So just to give y'all a little reference on who Jason Harrison is. I was talking about him earlier. He's coaching ball in Little Rock with Scotty Thurman. So he's from Little.
Got a pretty good team too, if I heard correctly.
Yeah, he's from Little Rock, so that's where he was from, and he went back home and knows a few of the big basketball players that come from Little Rock around the same time he did. Scotty Thurman, Corliss Williamson, Derek Fisher is from there as well. So
Derek Fisher's a big fan. You're a big fan of Derek Fisher.
I am a big. Well, he's a Laker, so you know.
He's a Lakers. What it is, yeah.
Yeah, and he played with Kobe Bryant, so.
Yeah, so that makes it even better.
Yeah, Kobe was one of my absolute favorite ball players ever. So you know. Anyways, we'll wrap this up, and we appreciate you guys being on with us. Catch us again Thursday night, 30, and we've got a Facebook event on that, and I've got it scheduled on Twitter. It'll be posted on YouTube as well for the schedule. And so you guys catch us, and we will see you on Thursday night.